What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Cam. I'm sitting here with my lovely wife Vicky, and we are your host for the podcast Everything is We. And once again, we're so excited, super elated to have you guys back here again. Guys, we have amassed over 120,000 total plays, and that's just on the sound platforms, the sound and audio only podcasting platforms. On YouTube, we've amassed over 100, 200, 300,000 views, and it's just amazing to see. All right. We're so excited that you guys are here with us. You guys are still rocking with us. You guys gave us some great feedback on the last episode when I asked you guys, do you like the long form content, short form content? It was the overwhelming majority of you liked the longer podcast. So I edited the last podcast, added a new intro, added some little razzle dazzle. You know what I'm saying? That's just, you know, it's just what I've been wanting to do now. And I got a new laptop. So I just been immersed in working on my laptop. So it's fun. Next step is I'm going to try to start adding the subject markers on the actual YouTube videos, so you guys can see like when we talk about various subjects, and you'll just be able to, I want you to watch the whole thing, but I know some of y'all be wanting to go back after you watched it in class or whatever and pull up a particular part of the podcast or of the show and dive in on that. So we appreciate the love and support. Appreciate you guys continue to rock with us. And y'all, out there evangelizing, doing what you do. I see y'all on social media, y'all sharing, y'all liking it, y'all commenting. Keep it going. Keep tagging us. Keep tagging Everything Is We. Keep tagging my wife. We love the support. So without further ado, we want to
500,000.
500,000 views. Over 500,000 views.
592,134
on YouTube
views.
That's insane. And this is coming from two people who came into it and just was like, man, if we could help like 50 people.
I had no idea what to expect.
If we could just help 50 people. We didn't come in with preconceived goals and aspirations. We just wanted to help. Like I say, when I'm ministering, if I could just help one person, if one person can hear what I'm saying and their life can be changed for the better, then come to the realization of who Jesus is, I did my job. And, man, that's super humbling. I just got hot all of a sudden.
You do have on a whole windbreaker.
I got a tight shirt on, so I'm just trying to.
Y'all can't be trying to hide his sexiness. Listen.
So
be proud of your body.
I am.
You worked hard on it.
I am. Still got a long way to go. But as we digress, we are going to dive in to this topic. I think this topic is going to last longer than the last episode. We'll just say that.
Well, okay. So here's the thing. Last episode, I was not together. I was not there. Somebody in the comments mentioned that I have not seemed like myself all season. I don't know what she meant by that, but I was like, I haven't been myself all season. I don't think that's true. But last episode, I definitely was not myself. And that was just the normal, y'all know, women know. Okay. I was going through it. So, I wasn't in my element that day. So today I feel much better. A week later, it's Happy Week. I always call the week after my period Happy Week because I love everything and everybody. Everything's beautiful. I have so much energy. I just feel refreshed. So I got stuff to talk about today. I'm ready. Okay.
Let's get it.
So yeah, we're going to start. We're just going to go. So I be on, why do I say that? Like I don't be on social media. I am on social media. I work on social media. So obviously I see a lot of posts. It's a lot of different things that I've been seeing people post about that I was like, wow, we could talk about that. One of them is this idea of brutal honesty. Somebody posted, I believe this was a tweet, and then, people screenshot it and post it on Instagram, but it was a tweet that said, are you guys brutally honest with your friends, or do you hold back in order to not hurt their feelings? And then somebody else responded and said, honesty does not need to be brutal. Unlearn that. So I thought this would be a good topic because I was actually on the phone with my mom, and my mom was giving me some topics to talk about too. She's like, "Ooh, girl, I got ideas." Me and my mom have our weekly kikis, you know what I'm saying? She's like, "Ooh, sis, I got an idea for you." So she was like, "You know how like when you're married or you're in a relationship or just in friendships in general, whatever kind of relationships you have, like you never know, like." If you're saying too much, like how much, because like especially when you're married, when your spouse is like supposed to be your best friend, right? But do you say everything to them? Do you hold things back? Like what is inappropriate to say? You know what I'm saying? Like people have those kind of debates or whatever. And I think it depends on the person, but for the most part, I feel like you should be 100% honest about everything. Like me personally, and I'm just talking about me. I don't know how y'all do things. Me personally, I tell Cam everything. Like everything that goes through my head, I tell him. I probably should not. I don't know if that's good or bad. I don't care. He's my best friend. I have nobody else to talk to for the most part. I mean, I have girlfriends and stuff, but he's the first person I want to tell because I'm not going to tell them stuff that I'm not going to tell him. Like, I feel like that's wrong. So I personally, I tell him literally everything down to, I mean, I talk to him about my period. I tell him what be going on my body. I mean, pretty much everything. Cause he be in there. So he needs to know. I just feel like it's common courtesy for somebody who, you know, shares your body should know about your bodily functions. I feel like that's fair. Might be not fair to, maybe he doesn't care. Maybe he doesn't want to know. I don't care if he doesn't want to know. I'm going to tell him. But yeah, so I feel like brutal honesty is necessary, but I'm also not a very feelings oriented person. So for me, logically, it just makes sense for me to be as blunt as possible so that I don't forget or I don't miss something that we should have talked about because I was trying to, you know, save your feelings. Mm-hmm. Now, here's the thing about that though. When I also screenshotted some of the comments that were under this post, because people were kind of, you know, having a little debate about it. And so obviously this person, you know, in the post said that honesty doesn't have to be brutal, which I don't think it does have to be brutal. I think you can be honest. I think brutally honest is it's kind of like an exaggeration. It's like a phrase that people say like, "Oh, I was being brutally honest," but like they were just telling the truth. Sometimes we make brutal honesty sound bad, but really we were just telling the truth. It needed to be said. I think there's a difference between being brutally honest and being rude, or like not delivering what you're trying to say in the right way, to where it can be taken negatively or like it could hurt their feelings. Like I feel like honesty should not hurt somebody's feelings, but some people are very sensitive and being honest with them might hurt their feelings because nobody's ever been honest with them before. Or
if I can interject there, I agree with what you're saying, but let's say it like this: honesty, or the delivery of being honest shouldn't hurt someone's feelings.
No.
Like your intent behind you being honest shouldn't be to the sole intent to hurt the feelings. Right. Now, it may hurt feelings because everyone's different and everyone receives information how they receive it. So the truth may hurt your feelings, but me delivering the truth should not be like, "Oh, I know this about to hurt their feelings." Right. So go ahead. Even if you know it might hurt their feelings, it shouldn't be purposefully to hurt their feelings. Like I'm going to tell them like, "You ugly, your mama ugly, I hate you." Like, you know what I mean? Right. Like that's, to me, that's not brutal honesty. That's just being rude. So that's why some people in the comments are saying brutality is subjective. What's brutal to me may not be brutal to you. Just know your audience and how to deliver tactfully. Correct. Which I believe is very true. Grace and truth.
Yes, grace should be mixed in with the truth. So like I said, I do believe in being blunt and being honest. But I also tailor that to who I'm being honest with, if that makes sense. Like over time, I've learned, okay, I can't say what I really mean. I mean, I can't say what I mean, like the way that I'm thinking it. I need to say it in a way that it can be received by the person that I'm saying it to. But still tell them the truth, but frame it in a way that works for them emotionally. Because some people are emotional, and I've had to learn, like, okay, I can't be that honest. And I think that comes with proper communication because, okay, for example, like Wanda don't care. Me and Wanda have had, over the course of our friendship, we've grown really close, right? And so like she'll tell me when I'm not being brutal enough, if that makes sense. Like, yeah, so as our relationship has grown, we have had talks about how, like, because here's the thing, I've had to learn over time how to be less, or not less, but more compassionate, if you will. And my struggle has always been, okay, I don't know how to not be honest without being blunt. You know what I mean? I'm not a good sugarcoater. I'm terrible at sugarcoating things. So most of the time you're just going to get whatever's in my head. It's going to come out pretty raw. So I've had to learn how to, add a little seasoning and spice and sweeten things up. Or if I don't even know how to do that, I just don't say anything. So as our relationship has grown, I've like kind of let down that wall a little bit. But I still kind of hold back because I'm like, I understand how people could be sensitive about certain things. So I don't be wanting to like, make nobody mad. And just past relationship trauma has caused me to be a little bit reserved, if you will, with my thoughts. Because I don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. I don't want nobody getting mad at me and then, doing what they do. So throughout our relationship, I've learned, we've been learning each other, and she's kind of like, she get mad at me when I don't say certain things. Like she'd be like, if you knew this was stupid, why didn't you say something before? And I was like, I wasn't going to tell you that was a stupid idea, but it was a stupid idea. She's like, well, you should have told me then. No, I can't tell you right then because I don't want you to get mad at me. Well, I'm giving you permission to. So we've had to literally verbally give each other permission to say things or do certain things in order to allow each other to be as brutally honest as we want to be, which I appreciate, because in other relationships, there were no boundaries set in that way. So like I might say something and then that person would get mad at me and not say anything and wait like a whole year before they blow up on me and be like, well, I don't like the way you said this to me. And I'm just like, you should have said that you don't like the way I say things. I would have adjusted, So Wanda's lucky because she caught me after I'd done all my all of my adjusting. So I've learned how to be more gracious, but she doesn't want me to be gracious. So I gave her the real. But like I said, it's a communication thing. Like with our relationship, we've taught each other. And I feel like it's not a bad thing to teach people how you want to be treated. Like I feel like it's like this thing on social media that I see all the time where I shouldn't have to teach nobody how to treat me. I shouldn't have to teach you how to be compassionate. I shouldn't have to teach you how to. And I'm just like, y'all don't know where people came from. You know what I mean? Like some people really genuinely have never had anybody tell them that they doing something wrong, or that it's not, that it doesn't work for you, because it may work for other people. Like when I was growing up, and this is for all y'all who be in the comments mad that me and Cam talk over each other. When I was growing up, we talked over each other in my house. Like we all talk at the same time. And that's how we communicate, like all of us except for Landon. And he just is quiet until he gets a quiet moment to say what he has to say. But all the rest of us are loud, and we just talk over each other all the time. Like and it works for us. Like that's how we communicate. Be loud. But like some people aren't like that. So they don't like that. So because it was acceptable in my house, I went out into the world thinking that's acceptable. And it might not be to some people, but if it works for the people that you live with or that you are constantly communicating with, then that's how y'all communicate, and that's fine. Me and Cam talk over each other all the time, and I don't know if we really like it or not, but we be doing it.
Well, so we talked about that like when we first got married, because you did talk over me, and then you're like, I don't care, because like I would just sit there and wait for you to finish. And it's like, no, like you can interrupt me, and so like over time. Like I know if there's something that I want to say, then I just need to say it when I feel like saying it, or she's gonna keep going.
Because I'm gonna keep going. If you don't stop me, I'll keep going.
And so that's why I do what I do. And some of you don't like it in the podcast, in the comments.
But even still, like,
and they put it all on me.
No,
like,
they don't. They
no,
say
they
both
do.
of us. Now they say both of us. Some people in the comments be saying both of us.
The majority of the
see both
comments
of
that
us.
I read.
No, it'd be both of us.
It would be really nice if Cam would let her speak.
No, it'd be both of us. But at the same time, like, I feel like I've had to, like, help you understand that, because even if I'm talking, like, because you'll wait until I don't have anything else to say, and then you'll give a response 10 minutes later, and I'm like, now I don't even want to talk about it anymore. So like, I be wanting you to interject and, like, have a back and forth with me. That's a conversation to me, is when, like, if I'm saying something and you're like, yep, and you, like, giving your response right away, because then it makes me feel like I'm not talking to a wall. If you're not saying anything while I'm talking to a wall. I feel like I could have just had this conversation in my head. And that's what Cam be doing to me sometimes, and I'd be like, please give me response. Talk back to me. Like, I like that, because it makes me feel like you're engaged in the conversation.
And so with that, like, a lot of times I'm I believe one of my great skills in communication is listening.
Yes, you're a great listener. I appreciate that. But also,
And so I like to listen to the entire thing, because this is what you do. You will talk about a problem, and if I continue to let you speak, you will have figured out the answer to the issue if I let you keep going.
but I didn't
That's what I've learned.
I didn't ask you for an answer.
No, but I'm saying this is what I've learned in being with you. Like, you'll bring up a problem, but if I interject and start, talking, then we both come to the same conclusion. But if I let you keep talking, I'll let you finish your thought, you'll come to the conclusion on your own. And I was like, oh, well, you figured it out.
But I didn't want to come to the conclusion.
You know what I'm saying?
I wanted you to help me figure it out together. I want you to validate what I'm thinking, because then it feels like we have, like, the twin power thing. And I like that, because then it feels like, okay, great, we're on the same page. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't get married to just tell you all my thoughts and just figure out all my own problems. Like, I want you to figure out the problems with me.
And so that's what she does. And a lot of times I like to process.
Yeah,
Like,
and he takes 20 minutes to respond.
It's not 20 minutes.
You take a long
That's
time.
how she feels.
But-
And that's valid.
But, like, okay, even when, like, we're recording the podcast and you're like, divulging, is that the word? You're, like, getting your thoughts out. You process things, and you wait until you've come to the right word before you say something. So, like, it takes, like, 5 seconds in between each thought.
And it does.
And so, like, I'd be like, no, just say what you feel right away, because I don't want to sit here and watch you process. Like, just get to the point. That's how I am. I'm like, get to the point. What do you mean? Just say how you mean it.
Well,
Give it to me how you mean it.
And so,
How you
and
feel
so
it. Just tell me how you feel.
like you said, like you just said earlier, you have to teach people how you communicate, or how you want to be communicated to, so on and so forth. Like, for me, growing up as a PK, I've always had to watch what I say. So I've always learned how to, because as a kid, being bullied, being made fun of, so on and so forth, blah, 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 people would say stuff to me, and I would say the first thing that came to my mind. And because I'm quick with my jokes and with punchlines and all that stuff, I'm going to hurt your feelings. And so over time, I would get in trouble. You can't say that to grown folks, blah, blah, blah. Well, they should have never said what they said to me. And so over time, it's like, well, Cam, if you're going to mature, if you're going to do this, if you're going to do that, you're going to be all who God wants you to be, blah, blah, blah. Then you got to watch what you say. You got to tame your tongue. You got to, James, I'll read the book of James. Okay. All right. So that I've just learned how to, it's like, okay, well, instead of saying the first thing that comes to my mind, because that's not the holiest thought or word, let me take a minute and process. And then it just went down the line of how I communicate in general.
I feel like that's
I'm trying to work on it, and especially now that I edit the podcast, I'll be like, brother, spit it out. But it's just, it's a part of me. I'm still trying to learn and grow and work through it and get my thoughts out quicker and faster and reading more, so I can have more words and a bigger vocabulary to articulate some of the things that I'm thinking and feeling. But, this is just how I'm processing
I feel like it's interesting.
things.
It's interesting how we learned the exact same lesson. We just responded in very different ways. So like early on, I had the same problem. I was very quick-witted. I mean, I get it from my parents. Very quick-witted. So like I would say things that were inappropriate to adults all the time. And so my mom was, both my parents always taught me to like, when grown folks is talking, you don't say nothing. So I just stopped talking pretty much. Like unless I was called on to speak, I just wouldn't say anything. So that is what I feel like causes me to kind of like withdraw and not want to talk to people, because like if I can't say how I really feel, I'm not saying anything. And I don't like small talk because I like to get to the point, and I don't like to sugarcoat because I like to get to the point. So if I got to pretend like I like a conversation or pretend like I want to be nice to you when I really don't be nice to you, then I'm just not gonna talk at all. So that's probably why I just go hide in the car. So my response to what they were teaching me is not to like, I don't know, it's not that it's not real. It's just, I don't want to engage in conversation if I can't really say what I really want to say, unless somebody asks me, okay, what is your opinion? Then I'm gonna give my opinion and I'm gonna tell you straight up. But until then, I'm not saying anything because I don't want to, be disrespectful or whatever. So I'll just be quiet, which causes me to be a little bit more introverted. But when I'm with people I know love me and care about me, and I know they're not going to, be upset with me if I'm honest or I share my feelings. If I feel like I have the room to be vulnerable, like if I feel like it's a safe space, I'm gonna give you my thoughts and I'm gonna say how I feel it. And that's why I feel like a lot of the people, like if you're close to me, we're close. Like it's either I'm super close to you and I only talk to you and like a handful of other people, or we barely talk and it's very surface, because I want to protect people's feelings. So like if we're not that close to where I feel like I can be brutally honest, we're not gonna talk much, because I feel like I can't be myself. And for me, being brutally honest is myself. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I got a handful of people that I talk to on a daily basis, because they're going to get my raw, unfiltered thoughts, and everybody else I have to filter myself with. And that's not fun to me. I don't like to be filtered. So it comes off as withdrawn, but really I'm just protecting you, because I have thoughts, and it's not necessarily that they're all bad. It's just some people don't know how to handle you at your 100%.
Yep.
So then you have to dial it back. And for me, dialing it back feels very ingenuine. So that's why I end up just like going missing, or either I'm fully present and I hurt feelings, or I'm just missing. Like there's no in between for me, So yeah, but I feel like with the people that I am brutally honest with, I feel like we don't hurt each other with our brutal honesty. So that's why, to me, I feel like honesty doesn't have to be brutal, Because
you guys have learned each other's communication styles.
Like me and Lexus, we shred each other.
You guys are literally brutal.
Like we're pretty mean to each other.
No,
and
it's like,
I think we actually really like it.
I be like, y'all good, but they be good. That's
how we communicate. Like we really actually like it. Some people, if they heard how we talk to each other, they think we were like, don't like each other, or like we were fighting or something. But that's literally just how we communicate. And we're on good terms and everything. Like we don't, like we be like, we argue and stuff. And then like in
3
2 seconds
later, they good.
So you coming to get me or no? Like, like
literally.
But it's not even, we don't even feel like we're arguing. Like we're just talking. That's just, to us, that's just talking. I guess that's why Mom says that we're mean, because she does say that you guys are mean.
Man, I experienced it for the first time this weekend when we went to the movies. And Alexis was like, y'all was talking about something. I was just like, my goodness, are y'all good? Like, do I need to intervene? 3 seconds later, yeah, girl. So I was like, oh, all right. This is just,
that's how we communicate.
This is us.
That's how we communicate.
This is us.
Me and Wanda too. Sometimes our conversations, it be feeling like we arguing, but we're not. We're literally just talking. That's just how we talk.
And then it's also funny too, because like last night, perfect example, Vicky's trying to shoot a campaign and she's asking me for my thoughts. I gave her my thoughts. My thoughts weren't good enough. So I was like, I knew you.
I needed a second opinion.
I knew. So I was like, go ahead. I was like, call Wanda. She FaceTimes Wanda. And Wanda literally says the same thing I say. And she's like, and so she don't
I'm like, no, I'm hanging up on you. I'm hanging up.
She really wanted this particular dress to work for the campaign.
It worked. And it ended up working.
Okay, y'all go see.
No, stop! Don't do that.
It's gonna be funny. But Wanda said the same thing, and Wanda said what she said in the way that she said it, and I was just like, dog, like. But that's how they communicate. Like that's, you know what I'm saying? Like that's just how they talk to each other, and so.
I feel like I appreciate brutal honesty, and this is what I be trying to teach Cam. I'm trying to tell him, I'm like, babe, like I want you to tell me how you, because I never want to get to a point in our relationship where you feel like you can't tell me something, even if it's bad, or you feel like it's gonna hurt my feelings, or you feel like, like I'm gonna be mad at you. I want you to tell. I'd rather you tell me. So like, just spit it out, whatever it is. Just tell me, like. I'm not 9 times out of 10. It takes a lot. And I feel like you can attest to this. It takes a lot for me to be angry. I don't think have you ever seen me angry at you?
Once.
Wait, what happened? Tell me. I don't remember. What happened?
Like the only like legitimate.
I mean, but like, was I angry like in front of you? Like I actually like got mad at you?
That's like 7 years ago, so I don't really remember like exactly. I mean, you ignored me.
I mean, yeah, but
I've never seen you like,
but like pissed off.
Wild, like
pissed off. Like even if you told me something that I didn't like.
No, I've never seen you like.
Like it takes a lot for me to be angry.
Adamantly pissed.
Right. It takes a lot for me to get angry. So there's really nothing he could ever tell me that I would just be like go off and I'd be like, okay, let's talk about this.
Yeah.
No,
and that's valid. She does try to.
I'm a very mild tempered.
She does try to like get me to be more blunt, but not. And I think this goes back to some of the comments. Not blunt in a rude way,
because I don't think being blunt is rude.
But just saying what's on my heart and what I know is true to individuals that I see, and it's kind of like calling people out on what we would say as their BS, and. Over time, I've learned to like try to do that, and so I'm grateful that now I have a rapport and relationship with some brothers that like we can all be legit and straight up with each other. Like, bro, you wildin', or like, bro, like this is what it is, or hey, this is what I'm dealing. Like we could be 100% honest with each other, and like we understand like that's what's gonna build our relationship and our friendship. And what I consider a covenant that's going to last longer. And I feel like in the past, I wasn't able to do that, or I didn't feel like I could do that because
of the person you were in the relationship with, right?
They would take it the wrong way, and then they would, in times where I did be brutally honest, it was like they kind of, shut that part of themselves off from me, and then they didn't tell me certain things, and it is what it is, and it is what it is, but.
I feel like thinking that thinking that being honest is brutal, or that it's going to hurt your relationship if you're honest about something, that comes from toxic relationships. You're taught, that's a learned experience. Like that type of behavior, like withholding information, that type of behavior comes from toxicity. It comes from toxic relationships. I don't believe you're supposed to withhold information from people. This is why we had that one podcast episode where we talked about keeping secrets. Like, I don't think there's anything under the sun that you have done, been through, anybody you slept with, anybody you was dating, anybody you have fought or gotten in an argument with or whatever. I don't think there's anything you can't tell me. And I feel like I should know everything. Like, I feel like if you tell me something and that's going to hurt our relationship, then we don't need to be together, because I need to be able to tell you everything, and I'm not telling you everything if you ain't telling me everything. So like, I just feel like that withholding stuff is kind of toxic in my opinion. I don't think that that's healthy. I feel like that type of, like I said, I feel like that type of behavior comes from being exposed to bad relationship bad relationship building. And a lot of it, I feel like we all have done it at some point. It comes from those like, well, I think we all had I don't think anybody had like the best, most perfect relationships growing up, like as kids, you know what I'm saying? Because we're all learning, we're growing up, we're turning into adults. Like those preteen, teenage years are really just, we all go through it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think anybody had a 100% pleasant experience in middle school and high school. So at some point you encountered somebody who was toxic and y'all relationship, it kind of scarred you because you had to learn how to walk on eggshells around that person, right? And walking on eggshells in itself causes you to not want to be honest because you have to like reserve parts of yourself so you don't crush that person, which I don't think should ever happen. So if you have a relationship like that, y'all, you need to learn your boundaries with them. But that goes back to somebody else comment on here. It says, let's normalize understanding who we should be honest with. Everybody isn't your friend. Those who are will understand where you're coming from. And while some of that kind of sounds wrong, but at the same time, I understand what they're saying, which is what I call boundaries. No, everybody is not your best friend, so you can't tell them every single thing. Obviously, you do have to have boundaries with certain people because everybody ain't for you. You know what I mean? You gotta be careful what information you share with people. But I do think being honest with them in regards to your relationship should happen. Being honest with them about your personal business that may not be their business, that they ain't gonna handle right, you gotta be careful about that. But I do think honesty is important on all fronts. It just depends on what type of honesty you trying to be honest about. Because here's where some people get into trouble. I feel like some people are too open in the wrong stage of friendship. Like you're too honest in the wrong stage. Like if we aren't like, okay, for example, if I had just met you and you don't really know me like that, I'm not going to be brutally honest about every single thing right away because that might scare you off or not want to be cool with, you know what I mean?
There's a time and a place for everything.
There's a time and a place. Yeah. And I think over time we grew to a point where we could be 100% honest, but at the beginning, no, because it's surface level conversations. We're not going deep into our pasts and stuff right when we first meet each other. And that kind of goes back to when we were talking about when people when people feel like the future projection thing, when people start like projecting their future goals and stuff onto people who are not really meant to be with them. Like you think that person is your spouse before it's confirmed that person is your spouse. Right. And like, so then you start trying to
roll, playboy.
Yeah. And so then you start telling them all your business and they just like, we just met 2 days ago. Like you're expecting me to give the same energy and I'm not there yet, you know? So you have to kind of read the room. But like I said, that comes with communication. Like over time, like you communicate those things. Like, hey, now we can be vulnerable. Like there comes a point and you both know it, you know? Like we were surface level and then one day, I don't know what happened. We just decided to just tell each other all of our business and have the life story chat.
It was like once we had talked about all the like I think your dad said it or my dad said it. Hey, yeah.
Surface
y'all
talk.
Talking is it surface talk or
surface talk?
It's like I don't even know what that means. I'm 21, but after we had talked about all the surface level things, I guess, you know, oh, what are you into? Oh, what are your
and the talking phase?
What are your thoughts on this, that, and
the getting to know you?
Like that's the phase where I was literally in my mind determining if I could be with her or not. It wasn't when we started dating. It was before. It was like, oh, do we agree on these things? Or do we have the same viewpoints on these? Do you like this? Mm-hmm. Oh, I like that too. Oh, do you like that? Oh, you don't like that? But okay, well, man, compromise. Like what things can she,
right?
You know, broaden my viewpoint on, or, you know, what foods can she help me explore whatever. Like that was the moment in the time where I thought like, oh, like this is where it's going to work. Then after 9 months of surface talk, then I was like, I like you. And you was like, I like you too. And it was like, okay, after we accomplish level 1,
yeah,
you graduate to level 2. And then in level 2, we're like, man, like, okay, I really like you. And man, 4-5 more months after that, it was like, man, like, I want to date you, but I'm going to do this the official way. I want to talk to your dad about it. After I talk to your dad about it, okay, then that's level 3. Then after level 3, like, so at each level, you grow.
You build intimacy.
Yeah, you build intimacy, and you build your level of trust and your level of relaying information and truth to that individual. Right. It's not day 1, I'm telling you all my deepest, darkest secrets, because you might be like, bro, like, I don't even like you like that. Like, why are you know what I'm saying? So you have to establish what kind of relationship it's going to be if it's like a romantic type thing that you're dealing with.
Well, I feel like, because I saw a post about this the other day about how intimacy is not reserved for romantic relationships. So you should be learning how to develop intimacy in other relationships too, and experiencing that in other relationships. Like you have, there are levels of intimacy in your platonic relationships, in your family relationships, you know?
Yeah,
so you should be also exercising those skills of boundaries, and then like breaking down walls over time with those people.
Yep.
That goes for anybody. Because it's been a lot of, I think it was on TikTok. It's been a lot of like therapists and stuff on TikTok, like breaking down people's childhood traumas. And so like it was this one TikTok talking about how the parent-child relationship can sometimes be the intimacy, or not the intimacy, but it's like how like a parent can see you a certain way, and so they act based on how they see you, and they may not see you as who you actually are. And so then it affects the intimacy of the relationship, because they're treating you like something you're not.
They're treating you how they see you instead of how you are.
Yeah. So some parents, like they'll stop processing your growth at a certain age, and so they'll always treat you like you're that age. Or some parents will treat you like you're an adult even though you're not, and put you in the place of an adult. So their intimacy, if there's a lack of intimacy with the parents, like if mom and dad don't have that intimacy there, or they're not being brutally honest and sharing their thoughts and feelings, then mom will go and like, she'll go and pour all that information onto one of her children, and then that child becomes in place of their spouse. And so then now there's like a unhealthy intimacy between the mom and the child, because she doesn't have that intimacy with her husband, which is super deep. I was watching, I was like, dang, like you really breaking down some people's relationship with their parents, because that's how it be sometimes. And that's why moms might have a hard time letting go of their child. And so they continue to be attached. So if the child moves on, to get married and start their own family, the mom feels threatened by that, because she is technically emotionally.
He was her young king.
Yep, she was emotionally attached to him in a way that she shouldn't have been, because he took the place of her spouse, or whatever, or her daughter or whatever, took the place of her spouse, and so now she feels threatened by a new relationship, and so she doesn't like her in-law. And then that ends up being a toxic relationship between the mom and the son-in-law or daughter-in-law or whatever, because you took my man from me. You took my child from me, which is technically my spouse, because I wasn't building intimacy with my spouse. I was building intimacy with my child where I shouldn't have. So that's deep. But man, TikTok, they be going into some stuff on TikTok. I'd be like, wow, this is deep. But yes, so that's why honesty is important, because you may be too honest with the wrong people. Just because they're your family don't mean you have to be that honest with them. It might hurt your relationship, but I don't feel like being honest has to be brutal all the time. It's just you have to know who you can be brutally honest with.
effective communication, how to relay what you're feeling in an effective way.
Yep. So to
or even how to relay the truth. And
yeah,
I keep harping on this because people think just because you tell the truth that you being mean. Everybody can't stand the truth. Everybody can't handle the truth. Like the great movie. You want the truth? You can't handle the truth. Some folks really can't handle the truth. And sometimes the truth is going to hurt. And it hurts even more when you've known the truth and you've continued to ignore the truth.
Yep.
This is what I told my parents Sunday when I went over mom and dad's house, celebrate mom's birthday. Aunties came over, cooked everything. I started talking about myself and how I want to grow deeper in my knowledge of the word and studying the word and proclaiming the word and, you know, theology and exegetical teaching and preaching and so on and so forth. And I said, it's one thing for me to not know, to literally be ignorant of certain things.
Right.
It's another thing for me to know and deliberately ignore what I know.
Yep. I think there's like innocent,
and that's what people do. Like people
ignorance.
know they know the truth. You know the truth.
Yep.
But you deliberately ignore what you know to be true to, I don't know, coddle your feelings or make you feel better about what you went through or whatever. And it's like, no, like, let's deal with the root of the issue. Let's get to the nitty gritty, whether we like it or not, everything in life is not going to be Jenny's ice cream and sweet potato pie. Everything ain't gonna be Vicky's apple pie and banana pudding from Vicky's grandmother, and it's not gonna be all my. No. Sometimes I'm gonna have to eat some asparagus. Sometimes I'm going to have to eat some Brussels sprouts. Like, it's not always going to taste good, but I need these things to help me grow and develop and get the proper nourishment so I can attack these things that are causing issues and cycles and generational failure and generational bad decisions and generational bad choices and generational bad thinking and generational bad eating and so on and so forth. Like, let's get to the nitty gritty and deal with these things before they become major problems and issues in our lives.
Yep. I forgot what I was going to say. I was going to say something, but I forgot what I was going to say.
I just had to get that out.
It's like the difference between innocent ignorance and like deliberate ignorance, you know? Because I think there is a type of innocence where you don't know and you...
Ignorance is literally ignoring the truth.
So it can't be innocent. So if you don't really know, it's not ignorance then. It's just, you don't know.
Unknowledgeable is you don't know.
Right.
Ignorance, if we look at the definition, like I will pull up the definition right now. Let's ask Siri. Let's bring Siri on this. Hey, Siri, what's the definition of ignorance?
Ignorance means lack of knowledge or information.
She didn't give it to you like you wanted to.
She didn't give me that. Let me go to the etymology. Let me go to the. Yeah, she gave me the PT version.
But yes, we get what you're saying. You made sense. And I feel like so many of our relationships really be struggling because we treat honesty as if it's a weapon, and honesty doesn't have to be a weapon. It doesn't have to be used in that way. Just like we talked about disagreements. Disagreements don't have to be arguments. They could just be disagreements. It doesn't mean we have to disrespect each other.
Online etymology dictionary. Ignorance has been used in the sense, it is from the Latin word ignorantia.
Okay, come on, Latin.
And it is the act of ignoring.
So the dictionary is sugarcoating it for you. They don't want you to know the truth.
Well, I mean, the dictionary changed the definition of family, and we've talked about that. Okay. That's a whole other episode.
Well, yeah. Mm-hmm. But going back to the brutal honesty thing, I think we said what we think. But
yeah. Are there any moments
only considered brutal to those that don't want to hear it in the first place?
Come on.
Yep. What are you gonna say?
Are there? I'll ask the audience.
Yeah, back to my mom's original question. Is there anything that I shouldn't tell you?
Is there anything you shouldn't tell me?
Like, is there anything like I shouldn't talk to you about? Like, that's something I should talk about with somebody else? Personally, I'd say no. I just want to know how you feel.
No, I don't believe that. But I do. I'm not even gonna go there because I know some folks that, yeah, some things that you take that to the grave, or you just
And I've heard some people say this. Some people will say that their spouse will tell them, "Oh no, you need to talk to your girlfriends about that. Don't talk to me about that." Some people have said that. Like my husband don't want to talk to me about this, so I talk to other people about it.
Now, I mean, me personally, like there are certain things that I wish I didn't know about you. And it's just like little things that you do that are just, that I personally just think it's like, okay, like don't do that in front of me. I don't do, but that's like just little. That ain't like, I feel like the deep
like
things
pooping
in life,
in front of you,
just things that are centered around that. Yeah, it's like it means nothing in the grand scheme of things. But like deep issues, like the weightier matters of life, like yeah, we should talk about those.
I mean, here's my thinking. Even in the smallness of my feminine situations. Like, I feel like I should tell Cam about those things because one day I might need you to be there with me when something is happening. So you need to not be freaking out and alarmed. You know what I'm saying? Like one day when we have kids, I want you to freak out. I want you to see what's going on. Even though I know you don't want to see it.
I'm in the delivery room. I'm gonna need assistance because I want you
to see it. I want you to see it. Like what if for some reason,
if I see anything more than how much my nose used to bleed all the time,
you gonna see way more than that.
I'm out.
But here's the thing:
I'm gonna pass clean out
because for example, our friends Harry and Amanda, she had her baby in the car. They did not make it to the hospital. They was on their way to the hospital. This lady had the baby in her pants.
But that's like man instinct kicked in.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I feel
but I'm saying you need to be able to not pass out. So I should prepare you by being honest with you about what goes on with my body. So you're not freaking out and don't know nothing about nothing when you see it.
When those times come, I'm just believing that the strength of the Lord will come upon me.
You might have to help me deliver my baby in the car.
Greater is he that is within me than he that is within the world. Jesus is literally going to have to take the wheel.
If we on the side of the highway and
the wheel of my body,
you gotta grab the umbilical cord,
overcome me, and I will be a living sacrifice. And then he will just be using me. He'll be using my limbs, and he'll be doing all that. But natural Cam, I'm out. I am passed out.
Babe, I have you split your head open and I was there cleaning it up for you.
And I wanted to pass out.
Once
I saw the top of my head, I wanted to pass out.
I would do anything for you, babe.
That part of my head is throbbing right now because you brought it up.
There are no limits to what I would do for you. So I feel like
I'm just letting you know.
And I'm also kind of like a science nerd, so like I be liking to know stuff.
Things don't really gross you out.
Things don't really gross me out, and
spiders and bugs.
Spiders and bugs don't really gross me out. I just don't want them touching me.
You be just like Aaliyah's face.
Oh my god, no, it's not. But they really do fascinate me though. If it's not near me or in my house, I will watch what it's doing because I think it's interesting. But I just like to know things. So even, with you, I ask you questions about your body all the time. Like, okay, so what does this do? How does this work?
Yeah, and then there's just certain things
I'll go in the bathroom with Cam.
I'm never going to do in front of you.
And he just won't let me in there. He locks me out. And I'm just like, but what if something happened to you?
I gave up.
What if you fall off the toilet and break your leg?
I'd leave the door unlocked and she bust in, and her and Gigi, I have no privacy. Because
I grew up, you don't lock doors, okay?
I grew up, you don't lock doors either, except when you're in the toilet.
If something happened to you in the bathroom and you needed my help and the door was locked, what was I going to do?
There's a way for you to get in any.
So just don't lock the door
in this house.
So just don't lock the door. If I can get in.
You literally can just take a bobby pin and poke the center of the thing.
Okay.
And unlock the door.
But it would be a lot easier for me to get to you if it wasn't locked.
If it wasn't a pinch and I was in there longer than an hour, bust right in.
Oh my goodness. Anywho, I feel like personally, there's nothing that I should hold back from Cam, and there's nothing I can't tell him, unless it's going to be malicious. If there's ill intent, which I would never do. So
yeah, your harsh words towards me, or your harsh words towards anyone. Yeah, those y'all want to keep that.
Like put
that in your back pocket.
There are, and I need to find this list. Maybe I'll find it and
Put
give
that
it
in
to
your
y'all
pipe
one
and
day.
smoke it.
But my dad has given out a list before when I think he came to like one of our women's meetings at the church or something, and he taught us like the basic things that you should never say to your spouse, or that you should never say to your man. And it was all things that shouldn't be said to anybody, period. It's like, you don't say certain things because it's not right to say those things. If your heart is not right, yeah, no, don't be brutally honest. But at the same time, like, I feel like if there is, you preface it in a way to where, like, if I have something to say and I feel like, okay, he might not take this the right way, I'll be like, okay, don't take this the wrong way. Like, just hear me out. And if I say it wrong, kind of help me, because I don't want to say it wrong, you know? And then I'll give him my thoughts. But I'm not just going to go in and be like, I feel like this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we've had conversations that I feel like were kind of tough before, and we were honest with each other, and you know, it was kind of a little shaky. It wasn't an argument. It was just like, I didn't know you felt that way, but okay. But we had the conversation, even though it wasn't easy to have. We had the conversation,
And that's maturity, or maturity, as my dad would
and I
say.
feel like we have matured to a place in our relationship where we can actually have those conversations and not be pissed off or mad at each other. Like, oh no, it's not you. It's just, this is how I feel.
You've
you know,
got to mature to a place where you can have the tough conversations.
because there will be a day in every relationship you have. There will be tough conversations. It does not matter who that relationship is with. You will have a tough
Take them in
conversation.
stride.
You will have to have tough conversations. And I think honesty is very important in those conversations. But just learn how to say stuff without being all in your feelings. Because I think some people just be in their feelings when they say stuff.
Get out your feels.
Get out your feels, bro. Like, you don't have to be rude about it. Just say what you feel without.
Why you gotta be so rude?
You know?
Don't
Because
you know
again, like we said
human
before,
too?
the problem is not the person. The problem is the problem. Attack the problem.
Attack the problem, not the person.
There it is.
Ha. Thank you, Lord. Thank you.
You're so much.
Woo.
Anyways, do you have any final thoughts? Is that all? Anything more?
My thoughts, just to the audience, to the listeners, to the watchers, to the viewers, is to, take what we're saying and it it's like a benediction. Examine yourself. Are there any moments where you felt like you needed to be more upfront and honest to friends, families, your spouse, your loved one, your mom, your dad, about some things that, like, hey, I gotta be honest. Like, and hear my heart. Yeah. Lace it with grace and truth. Lace it with love. Lace it with humility. Don't come in all boastful and arrogant. But are there some moments where you can think of in your life where, man, you needed to step up and be what people would consider brutally honest? Yeah. Write those moments down. Like, journal it. Write it down. See how you can learn and grow from that. And as you build other relationships and friendships moving forward, you can look at some of the things that you saw coming. Yep. that you ignored.
Yep. It's very true. Very true.
And let's just try to grow, man. Our whole goal for this platform is just growth, Yeah. And so, yeah, let's do that. And let's be better. That's all I got.
Absolutely. We're always learning and growing. Always learning and growing and learning and growing and reflecting.
You can glow too.
And glowing.
Come on now.
Learning and glowing and growing. Come on.
Because if it's up,
then it's up.
Then it's up. Well, hey, once again, man, we appreciate you guys. If you want to support this podcast, hit us up on Patreon. The link is in the description box, or the link will be in the description area on all the other platforms. So, yeah, best way to support us is Patreon. We don't have Cash App. We don't have mail-ins, none of that other stuff. If you want to partner with us, hit us up via our emails that are shown in our Instagram bios. Don't send me a DM. Don't send her a DM.
Emails will get ignored.
Emails.
Not all the time, but most of the time.
All right. We have a team of people. All right.
Yes.
If you email us direct, or you DM us directly, I'm gonna be like, man, here's my email.
Yeah.
I realize that I can no longer be the nice Cam that just, oh yeah, y'all, yeah, man, let me see. No. If you're serious, you're gonna email me. You're gonna email us. So also follow us on social media, Instagram, TikTok. I'm getting more into TikTok. All right. Hit me up on TikTok. Vicky's already on TikTok. Y'all love her over there.
It's a small but mighty group.
Y'all love her over there. Yeah, YouTube, Instagram. We don't have Facebook, but Twitter. Yeah, all of the things. And continue to be our evangelist for the Everything Is We podcast. Share it with your loved ones, your friends, your uncles, your cousins, your nephews, your brothers. It's your boy. And we love you. Hey, appreciate you guys. Peace.